Think of the kids. Think of the kids. You gotta let me take you on a date for the kids, please. Let me know if you've heard about the movie The Sound of Freedom. The Sound of Freedom, it was a movie that released a little while ago, about 2 months ago at this point in time. I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. Or just randomly, I was walking around and I passed a theater and they said they were playing The Sound of Freedom. Had no clue what it was. I looked it up and I only saw conservatives talking about it, and I did a big sigh and I had a feeling that there was something bad going on. Okay? The movie, it follows the so-called real story of a man who worked with the government to stop child trafficking and his epic adventures, Indiana Jones style, to get a little boy's little sister back from evil men across the world. Real, so real. One of the most real, okay? One of the most real. And whether or not the story itself is real, we'll talk about that in a little bit. That may be a little debatable. What's not debatable is the money that the people who pushed this movie made, because the Trump endorsed movie Sound of Freedom has outgrossed both Mission Impossible and The Flash. The Flash by that weirdo freak. Jared, who's that guy? Ezra Miller? Or who's that person? Ezra Miller? They're they, them, ain't they? Yeah, that weird ass goof Ezra Miller, and then Mission Impossible. All right. It seems like the real impossible mission is making money. Anyways, and the real impossible mission was turning a profit. Ooh, you ever think about how the real impossible mission was making a good movie? Oh man, the real impossible. Okay, I'm done. Anyways. It made about $150 million in domestic ticket sales, which for me, a lot of people in the mainstream media, they think it's super surprising. For me, I don't think it's super surprising. Conservatives, when they really have something that they want to spend their money on, they just throw it. They throw their money. Conservatives are usually have more money than liberals, progressives, socialists, and everything. They're usually quite rich. And so when you're that rich, you're more able to throw a lot of money places, and they're able to throw a lot of money buying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tickets for The Sound of Freedom. Easily and happily. Simply because they can. Right? We saw this when it came to the, border wall funding. We saw this when it came to Rittenhouse's. Remember, you haven't heard that guy's name in a while. Rittenhouse's GoFundMe, other conservative weirdos GoFundMe. They once one person gets a hold of it, like the conservatives are so tapped into social media now. The only thing they do is worry about social media that they'll easily throw money around super quickly for stuff like this. So I don't think it's very surprising, but to a lot of normal people, they're like, "What the hell? Where did this movie come from? What does it mean? Who made it?" All right. Now let's talk about it a little bit, okay? On the Wikipedia, it's a crime action thriller co-written by these weirdos. The main actor plays Tom Billard, a former U.S. government agent who embarks on a mission to rescue children from traffickers in Colombia. It is produced. I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of these names, okay? Who also plays a role in the film. The plot centers around Billard's Operation Underground Railroad. Operation Underground Railroad. That's kind of crazy if you ask me to use that term, but whatever, I guess. An anti-sex trafficking organization. It was released in July 2023, and it made a lot of money. But that's not what we're here for, right? I personally am against child trafficking of all varieties. I'm against trafficking of all varieties. Listen, I'm so against trafficking that I'm for 15-minute cities and for walkable neighborhoods and cities, so you don't have to get in a car to get groceries. That's how anti-traffic I am. But when I saw this movie, I saw the people who were promoting it and what exactly this movie would be promoting and the people behind it. I wasn't too sure if this is a movie that I wanted to support. I don't really watch movies anyways. And so for me, it wasn't that hard to not watch. But things started to get a little weird once you look into like what the movie is necessarily promoting or what it really meant. Right? Take a little look. The film received a highly positive reviews from viewers, at one point holding a rare audience score of 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for several months. Some movie industry analysts attributed the film's success in part to appeal to an overlooked segment of the film audience. This is yet another example of a faith-based distributor breaking the rules and coming out a winner. ComScore, a senior analyst, said. Christian website Movie Guide attributed the film's unexpected success to a wide demographic appeal and strong moral values. But things aren't all good when it comes to the Sound of Freedom movie. Like one, the accuracy? Because this is supposed to be following at least purported to be, yet maybe even slightly dramatized, real story of a real guy working in a real anti-sex trafficking organization saving real children. It's supposed to be at least real, right? At least closer to real, or a lot of people were trying to push it, as I saw, as being a pretty real story based in some reality about an actual operation that happened. The film was inspired by the life of Tom Billard, who left the Department of Homeland Security in 2014 and founded Operation Underground Railroad to work with local police in countries to catch sex traffickers. The film's central plot point that the brother and sister were lured to a photo shoot in Honduras, an event that Billard has claimed actually happened. According to the American Crime Journal reports, Billard embellished details about the story told in the film. Billard stated that some things are definitely overreported. He did not go into the jungle by himself to rescue a little girl, nor did he kill a man to rescue the child. According to Billard, the island rescue operation Triple Take involved both minors and adults, while the film portrays all victims as children. Billard stated that the team not only rescued 54 minors, but also 123 individuals at least 2 locations. All right. So for me, this already puts me on guard. For the main reason of when these types of stories are made about people who may or may not have done like some good things or had a hand in some good things, but then come out with these sort of like dramatized depictions of them as them being like more heroic. I'm just gonna say it. It's fan fiction. It's like an autobiography fan fiction where it's like a shower thought turned into a fan fiction that you sell off to make yourself look cooler or more badass than you actually are. All right? I hate to say it. And when it comes to these types of things that are so serious, changing everything up like this to make you to put more, there's actually more children put more children in trouble. We need more sex trafficked children here. In the looks to make me look cooler. And I also went into the jungle alone. And I killed a guy with my bare hands. And I got back completely safe. And I wasn't working with the government. It was all me, baby. I just really think that kind of says something about you. You know what I mean? Like that says something about you. I think it really does. It really, really does. And on top of that, not only do I think that's kind of weird, the sort of like self-fan fiction for this type of thing, when it actually should have been really focused on like the kids themselves and not, the people, and not the guy who you're making the movie for. You're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the kids. But also the weird conspiracy tie-in for all of this. Well, the film does not mention the QAnon conspiracies. Some critics and anti-trafficking experts have opined that the movie embellishes the reality of child exploitation and stokes QAnon conspiracy theories. Now, one of the guys behind this movie is an avowed QAnon conspiracist, which I think is kind of crazy, for one, that people genuinely still believe that. But two, it makes a lot of sense that now, putting this together, that they would dramatize this to the point where it's like all these children and everything was so bad, and then like one guy in his faith in God and his gumption saved these kids from the horrible fate that these godless fiends were going to inflict on them, right? Because QAnon is well known for lying about trafficking and making it worse than it actually is, to the detriment of the children who are actually in danger of being harmed. The lead is also pretty sussy. Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, it's a massive power fantasy, but they live to lie about child trafficking and also make it worse because that's the only tool that they have to attack their opponents. It's really easy to bring people in to the idea of we're stopping child traffickers. It's like the cartoonish most like everybody together will believe this and be a part of it. And so if you are against us in any way, because we're against child trafficking, so if you're against us, then you must be pro child trafficking. Even though QAnon conspiracists do things like calling child trafficking hotlines to accuse them of being child traffickers, lessening the likelihood of a child who's actually being trafficked being able to reach somebody who could possibly save them. You know, doing things like that. That is well documented. Allying with some people who have done terrible things to children, or even watching a lot of their stuff. Just take a look here, really quick at something, okay? Even though a lot of people here, a lot of conservative people, and when I tell you, there's a lot of conservative people who are pumping the sound of freedom, right? Blair White is one of them. Really big one. Fox News was pumping them super hard too. Valuetainment, these guys, the PVD podcast were pumping why Hollywood elites don't want you to watch Sound of Freedom. So true. Oh, this flagrant clips guy. Woo. That one went pretty hard. So true. Tucker Carlson was like glazing on this super hard. Look at this. Jamie Foxx speaks on Oprah, luring him into Quincy Jones' gay rituals. Not the gay rituals. Anything but the gay demonic rituals. You do hate to see it. Dave Rubin was on this to interview the true story behind the Sound of Freedom, the true story that was a lie. Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Matt, what the fuck? What's that other guy's name? I forget. I completely forget. Matt Walsh. I actually completely forgot his name real quick. I'm not lying to you. I really did. I completely forgot Matt Walsh's name. Guys, okay, what do you think a gay ritual is? What is that? And do I have anybody here who practices any gay rituals? Be honest. You have to be honest with me. I do a silly little dance, maybe. I do a few gay rituals as a treat. Gee me. It's when you prepare the human temple. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness. Not the human temple. A lot of people are like, you may not want to support this movie because, you know, the QAnon freaks are going crazy on this one. And the people behind it may not be the best. Some critics and anti-sex trafficking experts have opined that the movie embellishes the reality of child exploitation and stokes QAnon conspiracy theories, referring to a, in quote, belief that a core group of devil-worshipping elite run the world. You know, yada yada, adrenochrome, yada yada, baby eating. You know that it, you know how it is. You know, I mean, you know how dogs is and all that. Elon just got there. Like he's kind of a new money, at least in America. Yo, anybody got that video? It's like anybody got that video of Nikocado Avocado and like the caption is like Elon Musk at his first baby eating convention with other billionaires. Yeah, here you go. But this is real, just so you know. It's real. It's real. It's real. So real. So real, in fact, that both Billard and Cavazel have been both public about their belief in the conspiracy theories and of the QAnon experience. It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyways, with that being said, they defended their movie. They said it was completely above board. And most people kind of left it there for a little while, right? Until the QAnon stuff started to get bigger and harder to deny, until it all came crashing down with the Sound of Freedom producer, as reported a little while ago, felt the naked breasts of an apparent underage trafficking victim. Now, buddy, may I ask you, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You're making a video about anti-sex traffic. Why would you do that? Hmm? Don't you think that's a bad thing to do? Don't you think that's incorrect? You made a whole movie about not doing that, and then you just did it anyways? Who could have seen this coming? It's all projection. No, I'm not gonna say it's all projection. The thing about possible predators is that none of them think of themselves as the bad guy. You know, they think that there are bad guys out there, but it's totally not them. It was for research. It was for research. He was putting it in the movie. You gotta understand. Files from a joint local and federal criminal investigation released to Vice News describe video evidence of the incident, which took place in Mexico on Operation Underground Railroad. That is wild. Footage of the incident and its aftermath was captured by photographers working with Operation Underground Railroad, or OUR. We're just gonna call it OUR now. The private anti-trafficking group. And I don't like the idea of a private anti-trafficking group. It's like a private military, right? Like, sure, okay, you could possibly do good things, but like private? Like, why does it gotta be so private? Why y'all gotta have like a compound? You know what I mean? It's just so strange. And everything around this group is really sketchy, right? We're not even done yet. I hope you all know that. There's still more that we gotta get to. There's still more. Investigator with the Davis County Attorney's Office obtained footage and wrote detailed descriptions as part of the criminal investigation into Billard and OUR carried out by the FBI. The investigation was closed this year without any charges being brought. The descriptions included among documents obtained by Vice News through the public records request and make clear that the traffic victim appeared to be or was believed to be by Hutchinson and OUR operatives about 16 years old. And they also assert that OUR believed the footage had been destroyed. A description of the video written by investigators showed Hutchinson express concerns about whether he could be prosecuted by Mexican authorities over the incident. He was speaking to Matt Osborne, an OUR operative, who dismissed his worries while making it clear that he didn't think the video should be shown to the U.S. government. Osborne is currently the president and chief operating the COO of OUR, as he's been since Billard's resignation from the organization early this year, following an internal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. Hutchinson, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Hutchinson is an anti-trafficking activist, philanthropist, and entrepreneur with lines in, among other things, ballistic protection technology, private vaults, and the anti-sex trafficking movement. Detailed description of another video shows Hutchinson potentially creating demand for trafficking while posing as a wealthy sex tourist, according to an investigator. And according to an investigator's description, he asked a trafficker who was showing him pictures of sex workers for younger girls, or as the trafficker both described them, mas fresca or something. I don't speak Spanish, if this is possibly Spanish. The trafficker, according to the investigative description of the video, tells women who are working with him to find girls as young as 14 to provide to Hutchinson. So instead of just taking this guy down, and this is the problem with like these private guys, is they don't have the resources and the expertise and like the guidelines to follow. It's like those like YouTube pedo hunters who spend their time thinking about how to make the most dramatized video and don't really think about the damage that they could possibly be doing with the work that they're up to. Like I think like pedo hunter tubers are the reason why people like, you know, EDP 445 is still running around, right? I mean, think about it. Gideon, like the prank tuber who recently got banned from the WNBA for like causing a scene there because like it was funny to like make fun of women's sports. He thought it was hilarious. He recently thought it would be a great idea to get EDP 445, the literal like the actual literal confessed PDF file, who's like hunted several children for his own personal gain, right? That guy, he asked that guy to join his Discord for an interview. And obviously he's a prank tuber. His Discord is filled with children. And not only was that a stupid idea? It was a dangerous one because EDP not only happily accepted the invite to his Discord, but he also instantly began grooming a minor in his Discord that led to EDP sending that girl like explicit images, right? It's just, people think that this is just like a game and are playing around. You don't have the skill, the resources, the understanding. This isn't your job. There's a reason why doing this type of thing is a job and why it's so difficult to get in and why it takes so much time and why it's so important to have actually skilled people on this. You just as some rinky dink fucking weirdo with a lot of money who thinks that they could like do something like this can easily cause more problems than you think. Because you think of yourself as so important as your mission is so important. Stop putting kids at risk, you clout goblin. But the cloud. Like, he was blinded by clout. And it seems like this guy was blinded by 14-year-olds. There's no suggestion in the files that Hutchinson's behavior was aimed at anything but identifying and exposing traffickers, but federal agents with extensive experience working in undercover and overseas told Vice News that Hutchinson's methods ran contrary to best practice. And best practice too. For years, anti-trafficking experts have raised concerns about Auer's methods and potentially creating demand for trafficking victims. So these guys, instead of just like taking down traffickers, because it's harder to do that since they don't have the resources to, they now have to pretend to be trafficking customers, making it look like there's more trafficking demand out there, meaning that those traffickers are probably going to be upping their stock of human beings. Because they think that there's going to be more people out there looking for what they got. And so, sure, I guess it's one way to find them, but a really unethical one that can easily lead to more problems. And it seems like these guys didn't know what they were doing. Rather than finding minors who were already being trafficked, requesting younger victims while undercover could cause traffickers to try to find people to fill that request. In other words, such a request would not rescue victims, it could potentially create more of them. And that's exactly what this person did. He made a request and the trafficker went, oh, okay, based. I'm going to go find some more kids to fill my stocks up if you want one. And that's exactly what happened. And so he made more children at danger by asking them to hunt for more. Even hunting these dudes, they're just on a computer for hours. Or pretending to be a little girl or whatever, or doing sex talk and shit with people. It's weird. It is weird. It's super weird. It's super duper weird. It's crazy. But this goes on. A female in the description, which like the others in the story are reproducing verbatim aside from minor redactions, complete with topographical and grammatical errors. It gets to the bottom of the stairs, and then there's an adult male standing at the left side. The male is wearing a light-colored shirt with long sleeves and a necktie. The man uses both of his hands to lift the female shirt up to her shoulders, exposing her naked breasts. While he continues to hold the female shirt up in both hands, another adult male approaches from directly in front of the female. This male, identified as Paul Hutchinson, based on his own statements in phone calls with Matt Osborne, is wearing a light-colored shirt and short sleeves. Paul approaches the female and lifts both of his hands and places them on the female's naked breasts. The female uses her hand to push down Paul's hands and pulls her shirt down. There is another female standing above on a higher stairway wearing a dark-colored skirt or shorts, the dark-colored tube top. Paul leans in and kisses the first female on the side of the neck. Is this PDF hunter behavior or PDF behavior? Was he just like getting really into it? He just like method act. It's like those cops who try to infiltrate like drug organizations, so they start like taking like key bumps and shit like that. Put him in the piranha tank. Not a Fed post. Totally not a Fed post. 100%. The adult male in the white shirt, according to the description, goes outside with Hutchinson and his team. You want more touch? Feel? Oh no, more touch. He says. Another man says, you like more 16, and that he can provide IDs. Hutchinson pays one of the men, which isn't made clear in the description, money, and says for showing them to me right there. Party the investigator also wrote the description of the second video, which goes by the file name Backpack Cam. Another girl, like inaudible, this is a local male voice according to the descriptor 16 is 16, he says. One of the operatives is heard saying, "Let's get the hell out of here." Hutchinson is heard saying, "Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. I'm down $1,000. For $1,000 you got your hands on some breasts," the male said with laughing. What was I going to do?" asked the second male voice, whose words are described as being interrupted repeatedly by laughter. "Okay, she's 16. Here, feel them. They're nice." I'm like, "Shit, those are 16. You think they're underage, huh?" asked the first male voice. "Oh yeah," says the third male voice. "I would put money on that." The men continue with their discussion for a little bit before the first male voice says, "Yeah, those girls were young, man. If I don't know who's wise, I don't know how wise it is to grab the girl's boobs, though," says the second male voice. "You didn't get that on video or anything, did you?" asked the first male voice. "You totally didn't record me doing that, right, dude?" You wouldn't record that, right? I was getting really into it, my man. Now, these are just accusations. But this is something that seems to have been investigated by the FBI itself. No charges were filed. Let me just say that. And what I'm saying in here is my personal opinion. And they are accusations for one, but it seems like there is an actual video of him admitting that this is happening. In a statement to Vice News, Hutchinson wrote, "In regards to the undercover mission, 23 victims were liberated. Your reference to the trafficker test and legitimacy is a non-story." This seemed like a really important story, actually. I have a sworn affidavit by the federal police saying that she was over 18. Okay, so so this did happen. Just so you know, here's the complete confirmation that this scene did happen. The video is real. And it did happen, and he did have to talk to federal prosecutors about it. But in the video, he was saying that he thinks that she was 16, but he made an affidavit saying that I'm pretty sure she was 18. I have a sworn affidavit by federal police saying that she was over 18. Okay, but in the video there, you said you think that she was 16. In description of the third, there's more, with a phone call between Hutchinson and Osborne. During the call, which took place on a speakerphone with a room filled with Hutchinson and several men, Osborne talks about the videographer filming the call. During the conversation, he refers to himself in the third person and says Paul Stone as a reference, according to Purdy's description of the video. The alias he used while undercover, and asks, it was Paul Stone. Man, Paul Hutchinson, more like Paul Stone. That's me. He still uses his first name too. Wow, great stuff, brother. And asks if he's gonna get in big trouble from the Mexican authority for touching a 16-year-old on film. That's his words. Those are his words. This is in direct quote, and I quote, "Gonna get in big trouble from the Mexican authority for touching a 16-year-old on film." Very interesting, sir. Now face the law. Affidavits are just illegal, trust me, bro. Yeah, affidavit just means that it's just you saying that you believe what you're saying. That's all that it is. You can be held in contempt of court or whatever, but it's not like you're just saying I totally believe what I'm saying right now. There's nothing more to it. Put him in the goldfish tank and let them nibble him to the bone. Not the bone, good lord. Ooh. them goldfish will pick him clean. That's wild. When you get the hard drive, I have to confess to something, he says in the transcript, but I believe that it helped to make them really believe that we weren't cops. Starts to laugh. So we're taken to some strip club. He laughs again. He's like a 4-year-old. Okay, so the very first time that V was vetting out looks, we went to the strip club. He's basically saying like everything that happened, right? I just want to find out if I'm gonna get in big trouble from the Mexican cops for touching a 16-year-old on film. It's clear that they pulled it. They pulled your hand there, Osborne. This is a question. Osborne asks in the copy of the description obtained by Vice. This entire passage is highlighted with the word lie written next to it, with a margin note reading, Paul puts both hands on voluntarily. Those appear to be an investigator's notes. It's not clear on video. It's not clear on video, Hutchinson says. I was standing on the side and he grabbed the hand from down on the right, on my right side, and he pulled her shirt up. And then he's saying that it was the guy who actually put his hand on the person's breasts. And so we feel like if we're all there and we feel like if I had hesitated and, oh yeah, I'm not really interested in touching this right now. But he pulled it up and did anyways. Right, and then they go on. He's like laughing. They think it's funny, right? According to the investigators' notes, the video trafficker showing Hutchinson and a male associate photographs of a female on his phone. Paul and the others are joking about their old, saying 20, 22, 30, 40 years old. The trafficker says 16, and they ask him who. He replies he doesn't know. But these are the girls, right? And so this is why we don't like these like amateur private guys. The feds aren't doing stuff like this. They don't pull stuff like this. He violated a sex traffic victim. That's just what he did. If he wasn't there, that sex traffic victim wouldn't have been violated like that. And he did it. And he's the person who's supposed to be, in his own words, saving this person. Don't be so sure. Maybe, maybe not. What I do know is that he touched her and she was a sex traffic victim. That's what I do know. It's not clear. That's not what the report noted. Yeah, no, it's not what the report noted. It's not really what he said either. And we're not even done yet, because that was just one of the guys working for the film. Now we still need to talk about Tim himself, Tim Billard's departure from Operation Underground Railroad. So this guy had to quit following a sexual misconduct investigation. Sources familiar with the situation said that the self-styled anti-slavery activist, who appears to be running for Senate, invited women to act as his wife on undercover overseas missions ostensibly aimed at rescuing victims of trafficking. He would then allegedly coerce those women into sharing a bed or shower together, claiming that it was necessary to fool the trafficker. Shameless. Completely What am I supposed to even say here, man? What am I supposed to say? Listen, you must, ma'am, as you see, you must give me head when the traffickers come. It's the only way to fool the traffickers that you're really my wife. Please give me head right now. You have to shower with me right now, please. It's a social experiment. We have to, unless they'll think that we're lying. We don't want to give them any reasons to distrust us. Come on, just give me some sugar, babe. Actual movie villain character, really, genuinely. Put all of them in jail, dude. Billard, who's played by Jim Caviezel in the hit film Sound of Freedom, it said that he sent at least one woman a photo of himself in his underwear, festooned with fake tattoos, and has asked another how far she's willing to go, in the words of the source, to save children. How far are you willing to go? Will you let me put my dick in your ass to save the kids? Do you care about kids that much? The predatory nature, if true, because these are allegations of Tom Billard, if true, possibly, allegedly, is just mind-numbing. Think of the kids. You gotta let me take you on a date for the kids, please. He 100% has an evil laugh IRL. The total number of women involved is believed to be higher than 7, as that would only account for employees, not contractors or volunteers. One source close to Our has detailed knowledge of Bullard making sexual advances to a volunteer using methods similar to those he allegedly used with Our employees. Those methods also consistent with his conduct towards another former employee who spoke to Vice News. Tim Billard resigned from Our back in June 2023. He is permanently separated from Our. Our is dedicated to combating sexual abuse and does not tolerate sexual harassment, maintain an independent law firm, comprehensive investigation, investigating all relevant allegations to preserve the integrity of the investigation. We will not really be talking about this. Several weeks ago, an Our employee who accompanied Tim on an undercover operation filed a sexual harassment complaint against him with Our's HR department. The letter, which was sent this summer to donors into the anti-sex trafficking causes, reads, "This resulted in an extensive internal investigation into Tim and his individual operation tactics and led to more women speaking up as part of the investigation process. It ultimately revealed through disturbingly specific and parallel accounts that Tim has been deceitfully and extensively grooming and manipulating multiple women for the past few years with the ultimate intent of coercing them to participate in sexual acts with him under the premise of going where it takes and doing whatever it takes to save a child." Oh man. Oh, I want to be surprised. I can't be surprised. I can't be surprised about how bad this guy is. To be on a mission to save children, to be like gaslit by conservatives that you need to watch this movie about these guys who all they care about is saving the kids, and that's why they put this together and for this guy to dramatize his own experience and apparently trying to save children, dramatizing it even more to make him look even cooler to the girls and to everybody but girls, the ladies, is just, it is sickening. It really is. It's truly incredible how he just Weinsteins these girls as he's supposed to be like saving children. So it was all a massive PR stunt to go ahead of the allegations. I don't think it was a massive PR stunt to go ahead of the allegations. By the time he quit Our, the movie was about to come out. It was a month, actually it was a couple days before it came out. He resigned June 22nd. The movie came out in early July. So the movie was already basically done by the time the investigation wrapped up and he left permanently. But these investigations were going on for like quite some time. So maybe, we don't know exactly how long they were going on for. If you want to think as least charitably as possible, maybe it was that he was working, he knew the allegations were coming, and then over the years he put together a movie with the money that he made from this whole like kerfuffle, and decided that it would be the best opportunity for him to drop it. And then the allegations were dropping, because this is something that was written to donors. This was written to donors. The letter further said that Our's board and lawyers made agreements preventing executives from discussing the circumstances of Bullard's exit from the organization he founded, making it virtually impossible for them to defend the organization against Bullard's false narratives. So Bullard can go out and say basically whatever he wants, but the board isn't allowed to say anything bad about him because he made it. And so he could like abuse as many women as possible, but they're not, their agreement with lawyers is not allowed, that they made with lawyers, is that they're not allowed to comment on it or like combat any of the narratives. So we just have to pick through what is allowed to be said and what had to come out before that deal was struck. Authors of the letter did not respond for a request to comment, which makes perfect sense because of that. And our spokesman did not dispute what was in the letter when asked about it by Vice in July, or respond when reporters could only respond, or whether when told that reporters could only take this as a confirmation as their accuracy. Crazy. Bullard, an ally of Donald Trump. You know what? That's true. If all true, I mean, it would make sense that Donald Trump is his hero. They treat women similarly, so I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, there we go. This is updated as well, really quick. A statement dated here. Tim Billard denied the allegations. Of course he did. He called them baseless. Of course he did. Even though there's a letter and an internal investigation about it, and how there was an agreement about him leaving. But you know, who cares? Listen, next time you hear conservatives pushing this type of stuff, think a little bit deeper about it. It's really important. These types of people are way more likely to be the types of people who would yell from the rooftops about somebody doing something bad when in all reality they're doing something bad themselves. And when it's private and when there's a lot of money involved, and when the only reason why they're still operating is not because they're funded by the people to make to stop criminal organizations from hurting more human beings, and what there really is a loosely put together amalgamation of just random dudes who think of themselves as like G.I. Joe operatives. We need to understand that the likelihood of them doing something wrong jumps up dramatically when they have no real skin in the game and they could leave whenever they want because this isn't their real career. And it's sick. It's sick. Being somebody who's against something as like universally disgusted, as something that makes people as universally disgusted as child trafficking, does not make you not a misogynist. It does not make you not a racist, an abuser, an enabler, nothing. At worst, it could just make you somebody who's looking for a quick buck. So maybe that's who we're dealing with. I don't know. That's just me though. Come here. Come here. Oh. Hi. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.